enough to push Sterling out of play, force him to stop him from crossing into the box with what could have been a really dangerous situation there for Manchester City. But within 8 minutes, we've seen that they are the team on the front foot, as you would expect. But Sporting now trying to play out from the back, trying to work something here. It's clipped down the line then by Neto. It's poorly controlled by Tabata, won by Ilkay Gundogan, and Gundogan wins himself a free kick. Tabata looks back towards Neto, criticising the ball that came towards him there as the Brazilian fouls Gundogan, who was just, he was smart and intelligent with covering himself across the ball. But it's those situations, they've been penned into their own 18-yard box already, Sporting, and they can't get out.
No, they can't, and it's pretty much what we expect as the free kick's going to be taken by Foden by the looks.
Yeah, left-footed ball in towards the far post. It's reached all the way to Stones, cut back towards Jesus. He's challenged in the back. Surely a penalty. Nothing given by the referee. Jesus went flying towards the ground, of course, because he got shoved in the back. Surely, Tom.
Tell you what, VAR will check this, and it depends how long this game's going to go on for, because City have got the ball at the back with Ederson. He was nowhere near the ball originally, from my perspective. From what I was looking at, he just threw himself through the back of him. Now, the only thing that I think could be on Sporting's side is there a little bit of contact, and he's made it look really bad. But my first glance was he just threw him to the floor. Yeah,
absolutely. He was never getting to the ball, was he? Because
Jesus behind as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Really unusual decision perhaps there, but we'll have to see a replay as Neto wins the ball deep, and Tabata can bring the ball forward. Left-footed ball in behind Zinchenko, sprint down the right-hand side. There from Sarabia. He's never ever going to get there in front of Zinchenko, who can allow the ball to go out for a corner kick. Here we goal kick. Sorry. Here we see Stones knocks it back towards Jesus, and when you see a replay, it doesn't really get any better there for Ugarte, the midfielder.
Well, they've played on.
Just drops in the shoulder into Jesus, doesn't he?
Well, yeah. I mean, they've played on via VAR, so unless they've seen a different angle to what we have, but he just looked really clumsy from behind. You know, fair enough, but then we move on, and here comes City.
Absolutely. Silva down the right-hand side, finds Egan Riley, cuts back on his left foot, looking for a crossing opportunity. Perhaps it's Fernandinho, though, lifts one in towards the box, towards Sterling, headed away by Porro over on the far side of the field. Sterling will get there first, battling over there with Sarabia, and the foul goes against Raheem Sterling for bundling Sarabia to the ground. It's a tussle of arms, really, more than anything, between the two players. And Sterling, the man adjudged to have fouled his opposite number there, and it will be Neto who's the man to take this free kick here for Sporting, in and around the edge of his own box. City pushing high here. Bernardo Silva is almost playing a second striker role to Phil Foden tonight. It's almost a 4-2-4 for Manchester City. He's so high.
Yeah, I mean, the madness with Man City is you just don't know what they're going to do. Sometimes it works against them, but the durability of that attack is a phenomenon, really, when you think about it. If they go and win a Premier League title without a striker all season, I'm sorry, it's just one of a kind, really. You know, I mean, I know Liverpool have a lack of what you would like to call a number 9. I know he wears it, Firmino, but he's not a man that sits in the box and waits like a Harry Kane. But at least somebody's in the middle. Jota, even. Yeah, they've done this year with sometimes like a flat midfield four. Or should I say, they're on their way to doing it. There's still a decent enough fight in this title yet, I think. And this is the sort of game that, you know, they've got to come through unscathed as well. Yeah, a lot of talk about Liverpool quadruple. Never forget that Manchester City has still got the treble on, haven't they? And they could easily or conceivably win all of their 3 competitions: the league, the Champions League, and the FA Cup. As Fernandinho out to the left-hand side now for Zinchenko. It's down the line to Sterling. Gundogan is dropping in alongside Fernandinho tonight. Jesus in off the right-hand side. We saw him start the season majority of the time on the right flank. And play as a right winger, dropping into midfield. But for now, he's right on the right wing there. He just chops one back into midfield for the moment, and quickly turned forward by John Stones. 12 minutes into the game, still goalless in the other game at the Santiago Bernabeu between Real Madrid and PSG. Paris Saint-Germain, of course, bringing in a 1-0 lead from that first leg. That other game also on this service, as Egan Riley pressed quickly, knocks it forward, plays a 1-2 with Bernardo Silva, albeit rather abnormal 1-2 coming back off the head of Bernardo Silva. But once again, it's going to be Manchester City possession
And we've seen a lot of Manchester City possession as of late. Of course, we can't forget the second half against Manchester City, where they Manchester United, sorry, where they had over 90% of it. As Silva quickly turns it down the right-hand side. Egan Riley, first time crossing towards Sterling. Good covering, defending there by Pedro Porro from the right-hand side, because that was falling to the England man.
Yeah, I must admit, I'm a big fan of this Sporting away kit, by the way. It's got some real quality to it. I've just noticed it was Porro is the focus of the camera. Yeah, I mean, you know, the game against Manchester United was a bit of an embarrassment for the Red Devils' perspective. You know, City just keep on purring and running forward, don't they? I mean, it's been dominant, but you'd like to have seen the keeper made a few more saves in the first 13, 14 minutes. That could all change, though, of course, from this set piece coming now.
Yeah, no real strikes on goal as Foden's cross comes in towards the far post. It's won in the air by Fernandinho, turned back towards the 6-yard box, but that was too easy for Adan to come out and gather. A 5 or so yard run up to that one. Had enough momentum to get above absolutely everybody. And here comes Bernardo Silva once again, pressing right up and telling his teammates to join him. Him and Foden up against the centre halves over there as Quartes dropped into midfield for the moment. It comes out to the left, and Sarabia can't keep it in play. It goes out for a throw-in, and once again they stay in their own half. I don't think, apart from a couple of touches for Ederson, Stones and Laporte, that the ball has been in the Manchester City half in the opening 14 minutes of this game. Egan Riley pretty much playing as a right midfielder as Laporte chips one over the on-rushing attacker. Hand to the face there for Laporte. A yellow card will come out here for Paulinho, the Portuguese experienced attacker. I don't think it was on purpose, but it certainly caught Laporte.
Well, I don't know why his arm's up. Is it just a reaction to try and slap the ball? I tell you what, that's weird, Matt.
It's a really odd position to put your hand into the air, isn't it?
It's like he's just wanting to slap him, but running to him by doing it. He hasn't lifted his arm back. He's just gone in almost like a clothesline sort of attempt, like a mini clothesline. He deserves a card. I think red had to be a little bit over the top, but it's just a bizarre tackling technique.
Yeah, you often see referees taking context into things as well, don't you? A red card when they're already 5-0 on aggregate down would be a sucker punch for Sporting. I think a yellow card is absolutely fair because it's clumsily, reckless, unneeded. Absolutely there from Paulinho. Arms in the air. It's almost as if he's trying to use Laporte to almost turn himself back to go where Laporte was flicking the ball, but he'd done him. Laporte had flicked the ball over his head. The new Spaniard, of course, switching his allegiance from France recently, as Foden picks up the ball on halfway, drives forward with it, down to the left-hand side for Sterling, running at the defender, flicks it past him, goes past Neto. Quartes comes across, just controls it for the moment, keeps it in play. He's in and around the corner flag, goes inside then. It will be flicked on, will it? No, not for the moment. Ugarte on the ball, looking to grind and go down the line. It's Foden pressing up there. No fouls as the referee initially. Foul goes up against Foden in the end. It was one of those, he perhaps caught the Sporting man, but whether it was enough to take him down, I'm unsure. But Sporting once again worked themselves into a little bit of a troubling situation when Quartes surely could have just gone long up towards Slimani.
Yeah, I don't know. I know you watched Liverpool last night, and if you caught the highlights of Bayern Munich, Salzburg gave away 2 penalties last night. You can't afford, when you're already down in the tie, like Sporting Lisbon are, to give them, you know, opportunities, play into trouble. If they give the first goal away, you've sort of lost that respect you had, haven't you, in terms of the tie. Whereas Salzburg last night was even worse. They were well in the tie at 1 apiece. 2 penalties later, game over, and then 4, 5, 6 goals shipped in quick succession. I think for Sporting, it's a case of showing as much respect as possible, stemming the flow of attacks. They've just done it again with a quick, cheap free kick conceded. But they can't keep doing that throughout the night because they'll get carded and they'll be off the pitch. I mean, you're almost stopping the inevitable, aren't you? It's just whether City have got their shooting boots on to score. I think once they score 1, then we might be in for a bit of a funny old night. The longer it goes on, then the more their travelling fans will get something to smile about. But
yeah, absolutely. If it's 0-0, then at least Sporting can say, let's try and win the evening. Even if that's absolutely a minimum. As Foden picks up the ball on the half turn, plays it out to Sterling on the left-hand side. About 10 shouts for offside against Raheem Sterling, and eventually the flag comes up. There have been a couple of bright moments so far, only bright moments for Sporting, in that Porro and Tabata have done okay down the right-hand side. They've burst forward a couple of times quickly, but they can't find Sarabia or Slimani in front.
Yeah, I mean, Slimani's a bit of an isolated figure at the minute. You can't really miss him, can you? He's 6 foot plus. He's such a big, powerful presence. But he's barely had a touch. You know, Palhinha's just knocked it back in midfield. That eventually has worked, but they've conceded possession straight away. They're just smothered. They're just. It sounds like it's the old cliche, but it sounds like there's 7 shitty shirts on extra than Sporting at times, because you've got a front 7 that seems to be able to do whatever on earth they want.
Yep, they are pressing in packs, aren't they, at Manchester City? So Laporte out to the left-hand side for Zinchenko. A feature of Manchester City's game is the likes of Foden picking up the ball in tight spaces like that. They can't really afford to use up each other's room, but they're so fluid, aren't they? They move everywhere around the field and just drag defenders from one side to the other, and that's how they open up the spaces as Stones goes with a long ball out to the right-hand side, looking for Bernardo Silva, keeps that one in play and heads it straight to Gabriel Jesus. He drives forward himself, going one way, then the other, then chops it to one side. A good piece of defending, though, coming across there is Mateus down the left-hand side. He plays a long ball, or it was attempted to be long, but it went to Agate in midfield. Eventually, it will be half cleared out from the back, and going down there is Paulinho under a challenge from Egan Riley. Just caught him on the ankle, but he's given them a get-out clause once again there, Egan Riley. And if it wasn't for a little bit of a nick on the ankle, then Sporting would have been playing with fire in and around their own corner flag.
Yeah, I mean, it's such a tough ask, isn't it? Because these managers now, the modern day, especially the Guardiolas, they want the ball one up high up the pitch. To do that, you've either got to wait for a mistake or you've got to pounce yourself. If he gets that challenge right, his team are well and truly on top. So it's that eagerness as a youngster. You know, he'd like to make a mark himself as well. John Stones has just given him a huge round of applause. He just plucked the ball out of the sky, played it sideways. He made it look quite simple, but he actually had 3 Sporting shirts around him, so I'm sure he'll grow into the game, and it's a great opportunity for him. I'm maybe surprised I haven't seen a few more youngsters, to be honest, as in the 23s team, but of course Cole Palmer's been one of the stars. He's injured. You got McAtee that's impressed in the last few months for the 23s, so maybe we'll see a few more in the second half as Sporting come forward.
Yeah, down the left-hand side with Paulinho, just holds off Gabriel Jesus, looks for the switch of play and goes for it out to the right-hand side towards Pedro Porro, but has to turn back towards halfway and play the ball back to Neto. Good ball actually into Tabata in midfield. Can he hold off Fernandinho? He does, his fellow Brazilian, but can't find a way through midfield. Almost 20 minutes into this game, still goalless, which is a little bit of a surprise given City's dominance in territory. But a great drive forward from the left-hand side for Sporting, then fired into the feet of Slimani. But in the end, it cannons off Sarabia, comes to Zinchenko. Not the greatest clearance from Ederson, but it's comfortably taken really well, actually, by Bernardo Silva. And then Gundogan can slow things down. That's the best moment we've seen from Sporting, but when you don't have enough of the ball, you can't get used to controlling it, and that's perhaps what happened to Sarabia.
Yeah, you've basically got to become, elite in the final third, and every chance you get, you take. It's as close to impossible as you're going to get, especially with a team that are already inferior to their opposition. You need to have supreme shooting boots. One will break off because Foden's set off on his way. Yeah,
really silky move forward, chops it back towards Bernardo Silva. Coates will see that one go back to his goalkeeper. An initial bright spark for Sporting was caused by a runner from deep. It was Ignacio who picked up the ball at centre half and thought, I'm going to drive, and that's just what Phil Foden tried there, getting past the midfielder Ugarte with absolute ease, really. He wasn't pressed until he got near the box. Is it Slimani driving towards the City box now, up against Laporte, who slides in, just touches the ball for a moment. Slimani trying to put that one back towards the penalty spot. Paulinho slips, though, can't turn back to pick up that one, and then Jesus flicks it down the right-hand side. It comes off the hand of Mateus, and that attack comes to nothing.
Yeah, it does, and I think, you're looking at Foden there. I just love the competitiveness of him, Matt, because he's got the cheek to, well, I say the cheek, he's got the right, but he's got the audacity to tell the referee that he missed a potential yellow card for that slide from Ugarte and Slimani on the attack. I think the minute Slimani didn't hit that first time on the edge of the box, when he had one touch, that's when you've got to let it go. And that's the bit you're making, the point you made earlier about you're only going to get one chance to score. Pardon me, we've got 57 passes completed of Sporting to 161, so they've doubled the entire count inside the first half of the first half. To their credit, though, it's still goalless, and I think that's but in a weird way, I still think that's City giving them a helping hand rather than the way. The one thing I have struggled with is Sporting have not retained any possession. They've got 3 forwards. Slimani's just gone down with an injury. They've not held the ball up once to play it to a teammate. big issue. That.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just been Fernandinho's job to just keep picking things off in the deep midfield areas. Jesus puts it across the face of goal. Sterling coming in at the far post, slides all the way, almost cannons into the far post. Slide came in from Neto there to put off the England winger. It was a great piece of play, wasn't it, by Jesus down the right-hand side. It looked a little bit clunky as his control wasn't the greatest, and he knocked the ball down into the ground. But it skimmed all the way across to Sterling, who just couldn't get the final touch.
Oh, it's a tough one, isn't it, for him to try and react. Sterling, I thought, did pretty well to actually avoid an injury. I thought once he'd gone towards the post, the keeper was about to wave his arms around to say he was hurt, but he somehow got up with a smile on his face.
Absolutely, and we are a quarter of the way through this game. Tom, goalless at the moment. Hopefully he can bring us the first goal to half-time.
I'll try my very best, mate, as we see Hedges going forward into the box. He goes to the ground. Referee said the ball was won. Foden and a couple of City teammates have their arms aloft in disbelief. It's a poor touch from Slimani. Really poor, in fact, as he gives it to City. Here's Gundogan. Foden opening up space for a shot. Goes for goal. It's hit towards the keeper. The keeper saves, and Adan tips it wide for a corner.
Yeah, it was a good strike from Foden, wasn't it? It looked as though he was cramped out of a space to perhaps shoot on goal as Quartes came across. I think it cannons. It does just flick off the shins there of Sebastian Quartes, the former Liverpool man. And the ball, in the end, just going straight at the goalkeeper. A comfortable save to make. But I'm surprised that previous drive from Jesus wasn't given as a free kick.
I mean, I must admit, I did think it as it was happening in live play. Didn't get to see the greatest of replays myself there while noticing, looking down at my notes, but he was at some speed. Second time he's gone down, referee's not given him anything. The Sporting travelling fans watch Gundogan and Foden stand over this corner. It's Gundogan that floats it to the far post. Stones jumps up, wins the header, and it's going to be flicked away by Sporting, only as far as Royce, who clears it back out towards Egan Riley, out towards the right-hand side, still goalless. He just goes down. Has he got a free kick this time? I think he might have. The referee looks across, and Islam Slimani is not the man you want to be putting a challenging on the edge of his own box. He's clumsy, he's cumbersome, and this time he just gets the call he wants. Unfortunate for City, it's the worst position of all three claims he's had.
Yeah, absolutely. It's, as you say, just so clumsy, and that is a striker's tackle, isn't it? On a attacker himself, and
I mean, they're asking for a card, I think, City, because of the challenges that Slimani has put in. But what's the difference between that and the penalty shout? He's been bundled to the floor.
I don't know.
I want answers. Find them for me in the next 20 minutes. Here is Phil Foden and Gundogan again, stood over the set piece. Either or, really. You look at this, you might want a left-footed in-swinger. You might want Gundogan's floater to the far post. They've got options, Laporte, Stones, Fernandinho, Jesus, Bernardo Silva, Raheem Sterling all in there towards the far post, up towards Laporte. It's underneath his head. Fernandinho keeps it in, just about. Brazilian goes all the way back to halfway. Egan Riley and Zinchenko are back there trying to combine. Zinchenko spins it out to the left-hand side. It's a crisp pass in towards Jesus. He goes back towards his teammate Bernardo Silva, and he realises that Ederson's probably bored out of his mind and goes back to the keeper. I always wonder, at this level, I know that they say the old cliches, I'm never going to stop, focusing, I'm always expect a chance for Sporting, but I wonder if they're fully focused on the match at all times, or they're sat thinking about other things, because it's a procession, this, so far.
Yeah, absolutely. You do wonder if it crosses their mind here as they have to defend.
Yeah, Bernardo Silva cuts back inside, whips it across, out to Fernandinho, floated to the far post, keeper comes off his line and gets a good punch to it. Maybe could have caught it if his teammate wasn't in his way. The Sporting get it back into territory midfield, out towards Royce on this left-hand side. He cuts his run, checks it back inside. This time it is Ugarte that goes back to halfway.
And just going back to your previous point, that set piece from the right-hand side for City, you just wonder whether they perhaps switched off. Quartes is the best part of 6'5". He's got Neto in behind him, who's a good 6'+.
Yep.
But yet there's a 5-yard gap between them, and Laporte is only just underneath the ball. Otherwise, he's got a free header.
I mean, I'm going to suggest on the aggregate scoreline, Sporting defensively are going to struggle tonight. But I know what you mean. That's what I said earlier about make them work for their goal. They're likely going to score. So just make sure when they do score, it's some brilliant play, or it's a deflection and you've got unlucky. Don't give them a goal. And I think that's one of the main issues for Sporting tonight. They've got to try and make sure life is tough as Royce gets it back to Ugarte. Back across to the defence. There's any score in the PSG Madrid?
Not as of yet, still goalless in that as well.
So, only 1-0 advantage in that game. This one, I must admit, I did expect City to be in front by this point. I thought Sporting would be coming here just for the journey, getting their appearance fee and they'll be on the plane. But to their credit, they're doing what they can to make a game of it. Back inside it goes towards Tabitha. He's looking across the park. Into the City half it goes. It's still goalless. Man City 0, Sporting 0. Out wide to the right wing back, which is Porro. Of course, a Man City player. On loan, allowed to play. Future seemingly well away from the Etihad Stadium. And now midfield is Tabata once more. He's driving into the City half. It works out wide to Royce, who's got space, and he's turned back inside Hedges. He's looking across the line. Still, this is probably Sporting's best moment of possession this in the entire game, as Tabata shows too much of it towards towards Hedges, who shows some defensive skills to crunch in with a crisp challenge. But in terms of momentum and building, I know Sporting got very little territory towards goal, but they went across the pitch. I'm not trying to be sarcastic here, but that's the best move they've had. We'll break off though. They've just given the ball away with Ugarte. Out wide it goes to Sterling. Into the box he comes. He looks back across the goal. Likes to try and squeeze it across the face of goal. Still going. Cuts it back. Headed away near the penalty spot. And back out it goes. And here comes Sporting trying to build out from the back. It looks like it's a relatively simple play for Ugarte. He's going to slow it down. Go out wide. Now Sporting try and get him behind. Up towards Paulinho. The flag stays down. Paulinho goes around the defender and the flag is still down, which suggests to me that is the biggest opportunity Sporting could get for the entire first half. A ball right across from the pitch from Sarabia. Paulinho, did he stay on side? No. So why the flag did not come up is beyond me.
Yeah, he's tried a piece of skill on the edge of the box, hasn't he, behind Egan Riley to try and flick it past him. The keeper came out really well. It was John Stones and Egan Riley that he ran between. Don't know whether the communication was there initially, but Stones spotted it, didn't he? Stepped up really quickly, did really well to play Paulinho offside. But I don't know why the flag didn't go up earlier. It seemed like a relatively easier decision. It's one of those, though, that they're both going the opposite way. I think sometimes with VAR they doubt themselves.
No, and there is that, and I understand with the linesman he might not be 100% sure. So if the flag stays down, but I just thought with the gap they had, the difference in kits, it might have been easier to see. But of course, I know the officials have a tough job. We're half an hour in. It is Man City 0, Sporting Lisbon 0. 5-0 to City on aggregate. As Stones works it wide towards Hedges. He looks back into the middle. He's got a lack of options, but he has got one in Egan Riley if he goes back to him, which he does. Now with Stones. Stones still coming forward. Across towards Fernandinho. Laporte. Back to Stones. Edison is another one they use. And I mean, City are just going through the motions, really. Yeah,
I think the intensity's gone from the City attack for the moment. I think we've seen less of Phil Foden on the ball. He's the man that often injects that life, isn't it? And in the last 5 minutes, we've seen a little bit better play from Sporting as well. So maybe it's eking towards that way, and Pep Guardiola will probably be shouting from the sideline saying, pick it up, boys.
Yeah, probably is. As here is Bernardo Silva running through on towards goal, shoots towards goal. He's had a little pull back on the arm. He keeps going, though. The referee didn't spot that and wasn't going to give a free kick anyway. And it's now across the left-hand side towards Laporte, and he gets it back inside to Foden. Foden drops the shoulder, plays it out to the left for Zinchenko. City have got bodies gathering in the box. Foden was one of those. Zinchenko goes back. Sporting did do well to squeeze the gap. Here is Zinchenko again. Just flicks it wide to Gundogan. Gundogan's looking back on the inside. City are just getting in certain areas, looking up and going, okay, there's no gap, let's turn around. It's very, very steady, it's very methodical, it's very routine. But at 5-0, do you expect them to maybe take a few more risks, maybe speed it up a bit?
Yeah, well, they're not taking any risks, are they? They're just playing it safe, and when they five at a little 5-yard gap, they'll play that pass. But unless it's 5 yards, if it's a little bit tighter, then they're never going to go for it. That's the way the game is going in this one. Perhaps their thinking is, let's keep working Sporting down, let's keep tiring them out, and as the game goes on, the gaps will get bigger and bigger, and then we can exploit them, perhaps make the changes. But yeah, they're not going for the killer instinct, are they, at the moment?
Certainly not. It's here now, the ball in possession with Stones. He works it wide out towards Jesus. He's going to be on the attack here. The Brazilian flicks it towards Bernardo Silva, takes a deflection. He's unlucky. I think it goes all the way into the feet of Adan in goal. That pass an inch further across the defender's foot. Bernardo Silva's got a 1-2 opportunity.
Yeah, it's better, isn't it, from Jesus? Nice bit of injection of life with that sprint from 5 yards. But once again, it was an opening that was provided to him by the left fullback that allowed him to drive inside, and that quality wasn't quite there to make the pass, but also good alert midfield defending, wasn't it?
It certainly was, as here is Laporte. He goes out wide towards Zinchenko. Fits it inside towards Sterling. Sterling flicks it back towards Fernandinho. Fernandinho keeps possession. He's worked out wide towards Jesus. He's looking across. He's got Sterling, Bernardo Silva, Foden. Got Gundogan. He's got Zinchenko. All options ignored. Though City go back in towards the middle of the park for Fernandinho. Gundogan again. He looks across the pitch. Tries to find a way through. He's almost gliding with it underneath his feet as he gets it back towards Fernandinho, who finds Laporte. Here now is Sterling. Sterling towards Gundogan. Gundogan looks across the park and goes out wide towards Laporte. It is very, very easy, this for Manchester City. It's always become attack versus defence the last, well, probably since I started commentating 10 minutes, but I've definitely for the last 5 minutes has been a routine training sort of feel to it.
Yeah, and when it comes to the right-hand side, I'm just wondering whether Pep Guardiola will switch things up at some point. The game started with Bernardo Silva really high up alongside Foden. Them two seemingly dropping into midfield to try and pick it up, and then release Sterling and Jesus on the flanks. But Jesus is right-footed. He's on the right flank. The left fullback seems seemingly very left-footed. So it's almost as if they both want to go the same way. I just wonder if a couple of switches in positions, inside and outside, bring a left-footer to the right to cut in. It might cause defenders a few more problems.
Yeah, if only they had somebody like Riyad Mahrez, that'd help. As
top scorer in the Champions League for them this season.
Bernardo Silva out wide to Sterling. Sterling's got the option to look back inside, which he takes, but only goes back up the pitch towards Bernardo Silva. Bernardo Silva flicks it to Fernandinho. Fernandinho to Foden. Foden's over the head of Egan Riley, who's going to have to be quick here. Thankfully for him, Gabriel Jesus is on hand as well. The Sporting Lisbon coaching staff charging their players forward. Guardiola trying to get the tactics right for his team. We have 10 minutes to go until the end of the first half. Goal elsewhere.
Yeah, it looks like PSG have taken a 2-goal aggregate lead by scoring the first one at the Bernabeu. And I tell you what, if Real Madrid are looking at this one, they need to come out of the shells now, don't they?
Yeah, they certainly do. They've got a great lead in La Liga.
Under review.
Well, we'll see. Got a great record at home as well. As here comes Sporting. Foden gets the flick away, clears only for a split second. Sporting piling forward. It's with Porro. He gets towards the bar line, cuts it back into the near post, headed away by Egan Riley. Both centre backs couldn't get to it, and the youngster's called upon. He does his job. Nice
ball from Porro from the right hand side, wasn't it? Slimani went the initial stage though, didn't he? And then stopped, and then didn't go back into the middle. If he had, it's a great ball and brilliantly curled.
Perfect ball for a centre forward of his ilk as well, as it's out wide with Sporting. They get it back out wide towards Royce. It's worked into the feet of Inacio.
Goal disallowed for PSG.
So it's back to 0-0. False alarm. Calm down, everybody. I wish somebody at Man City would maybe wake up a little bit. All too easy. Sporting, we know what they were feeling. It's goalless if you're just joining us on official off-tube studio commentary. And the Champions League City with a 5-0 cushion, we're always going to try and get through without any injuries and try and keep things pretty tight. As Sporting come forward on the attack, it was an attempted flick from Sarabia towards Paulinho, but it's out to Porro. Slimani's bursting to try and get into the box. He can't get there in time. It's deflected. Potential handball. Paulinho's got it once again. He's trying to find a way to cross it. He just gets back and helps out, and now he's trying to look down the line, is the Brazilian. And he's actually a lot more adept at working hard and helping out at the back than you realise, because when we've seen him, he's played as a number 9 now, but tonight actually didn't get back and work tremendously hard.
Yeah, well, he started the season, as mentioned, at right wing for City this season and played there pretty much every game. You just look at it, his defensive work rate is exceptional as a right winger tracking back, and you just wonder that sometimes might be what pips him ahead of the likes of Silva, Foden, Mahrez on that right hand side to play at right full back, and it's brilliant work because it was a good move for Sporting.
Yep, certainly was. Sporting's fans are enjoying themselves. Plenty of them packed into their way end as scarves and their chants are going wild. They're enjoying themselves on their trip to Manchester. Not many people say that when you're losing 5-0. Not many people say that in general from Yorkshire folk, but we will see what they could do. As here comes Zinchenko. It's fired out wide. It looks a great pass, and it is a really good ball out towards Jesus, who will now latch onto it. Now a chance to stretch the play. Jesus one-on-one with the defender, tries to turn inside, does turn inside, flicks it back to Bernardo Silva. It's laid across to the middle of the park. There is Zinchenko, but City have now got a wall of Sporting players to get past. It's out to Egan Riley. 37 minutes gone, still goalless. Bernardo Silva floats it into Gundogan. It's cleared away by Porro. It's back out to the edge of the box. Tabata gets it away. Sterling dispossessed, supporting on the edge of their own box. Zinchenko cuts it back, takes a touch off a Sporting player, and eventually it's hooked clear. Desperate defending from Sporting, but it's desperate defending that worked, Matt.
Yeah, absolutely. They were all over the place. Each player was almost out of position, apart from Porro at right fullback, who did really well to head it away initially. I think it's Neto who just manages to adjust his body and flick his feet backwards, because that cutback was coming into a really dangerous area.
Here now is Fernandinho on the ball. It is with Sterling. Sterling gets it back up the line towards Laporte. Looks forward. Fernandinho again. Fizzes it in towards Foden. Sterling, oh, it's a beautiful ball. Sterling one-on-one with the keeper, tries to float it over his head. He can only catch it. Can the keeper? Doesn't get the scoop on the ball he wanted. Sterling, and Adan reacted. It came flying out of the blocks, but best move of the match by a million miles. Foden into Sterling. He maybe, of course, with hindsight, suggests he could have gone early and gone round the keeper on the floor.
Yeah, he's onside though, isn't it? It's a brilliant, brilliant ball from Foden. Just seeing a replay, maybe it bounced slightly up, so Sterling couldn't or didn't get his foot underneath it enough. Yellow card's going to come out here for Gabriel Jesus here for catching is it Royce at left fullback, but what a ball from Foden. When he gets it, he's under pressure. He's got a man racing into him behind him. Just thinks
it's like round the side door, isn't it? It's almost as if you can see the play before you've done that move so many times in training. You know the route, the movement. Gabriel Jesus is carded for that challenge, which he's not happy about. That means both centre forwards on paper tonight have been booked for either side. Pep Guardiola sitting with his technical staff, both of them coughing on each other, to be honest. And we wait for the final 5 minutes of the first half.
Only 4 attempts from City so far. It illustrates something you said earlier on, in that the keeper's not been tested enough. He's had 4 shots to defend, of which only 2 have come on target, as another yellow card comes out here. I think for Islam Slimani for colliding with John Stones. So the referee has suddenly just become a little bit easy with his cards. You see a replay. Yeah. It's an accidental elbow, perhaps.
Yeah, I mean, he'll probably say he's not in control. Yellow card is given, and he's in a little bit of bother. But I mean, he's often a little bit clumsy, Slimani. But interesting to see as Jack Grealish warms up. That'd be a player that they'd look to try and get on. Of course, he's had injuries in recent weeks. It wouldn't surprise me if he gets a full half. I mean, you take Foden off, wrap him up in cotton wool. Down the line they go, looking for Jesus. I mean, Jesus should get 90 really if he can manage it fitness-wise. They should be like it, try to get him energy into the legs. They're going to need those sort of players if it goes wrong against some of the teams in the Premier League.
Yeah, absolutely. Grealish, of course, somebody perhaps needed a little bit more confidence in front of goal, and yeah, first goal of the game has now come for PSG. The first goal that was disallowed was from Mbappe. The second goal is from Mbappe.
I've not heard much of that man, but he's I hear he's good. Yeah, top talent. Such a big year for PSG in the Champions League. They're desperate to get it. I do think Pochettino walks away at the end of the season. I think if Manchester United come calling, I don't think it's fully worked for him at PSG, has it? But if he can get the title, especially the Champions League as well, what is there for them to do? As here comes Jesus on the right-hand side, runs into traffic. It's flicked back towards Egan Riley. Now with Fernandinho. Fernandinho goes forward in towards Bernardo Silva, who was a little bit late to get it wide to Jesus, but he gets it there eventually. Egan Riley again, cut back into Stones. Stones looks further forward, had the option to play it to Fernandinho, but rejected that chance. Wide it goes to Bernardo Silva. Bernardo Silva on the attack, so PSG 2-0 up, as Matt said, on aggregate. 1-0 on the night. Here is Bernardo Silva. Can City open the scoring here? Bernardo Silva dances one way, flicks it back to Jesus, drilled in across the face of goal, takes a couple of deflections. Sporting though come clear, and it's now into the feet of Tabata on the attack. He looks it out to the left hand side, he fizzes it into Paulinho's feet, takes control of it, slows it down. And Sporting are just in it to survive really. You've seen that there's a couple of half attempts to get forward. Slimani was desperate to get into the box for the cross, and every time their main target man's not being in there. Apart from that, they're seeing this as a bit of a training exercise. It's almost like they've been told, if you're not in the right positions, you can't score. You have to restart and recycle. And it's an art of defending, really.
Yeah, absolutely. That Ugarte and Tabata had the ball in and around the penalty, the halfway line, and driven forward with it about 10-20 yards, but neither of them have found somebody.
Yeah, Foden forward, looking for Jesus. It's not too far away. Good defending from Inacio, trying to get across, just about pipping Gabriel Jesus to the ball.
Yeah, it's a great run from Jesus, isn't it? He drifts inside the left full-back, and Inacio, I don't think he initially knows he's there, but has a quick look over his shoulder to see that Jesus is there, and has to get a toe on that ball because he's through on goal.
And it's a sporting throw as well. He's done very well as the defender. As here is Rice in possession. He keeps creeping forward, taking a couple of yards every time. Egan Riley's job to mark Slimani. Slimani realises that and asks him for it, keeps hold of it, wins a throw in further down the line. Couple of minutes to go. I don't think we're going to get much stoppage time, which is always a sign that you've not had the greatest of halves to watch. Royce, bit of a dodgy throw in, I'll let him have it, but didn't look the best. Goes back up the line and clears Adon eventually. And now Sarabia trying to get in behind Laporte. He eventually gets the better of him, tries to keep hold of it. Zinchenko having a pull on the shirt. Not that much according to the linesman. Enough for a foul according to the referee.
Yeah, Sarabia did enough initially to put Laporte off in terms of not winning the header cleanly. He nods it into the air. But then Sarabia didn't have a clue where it bounced, did he? And therefore Laporte running onto it could see, got there first. Sarabia ending up with a free kick. But yeah, they've had a couple of long balls that have troubled the City centre-halves, of course, without Ruben Diaz, who's out injured. But that's all.
Yeah, it is. And we hope it continues in terms of competitiveness from both teams, but we want a bit more quality in that final third. We'll see if we get it, as the ball is with Coates in possession. He goes back now towards Adan. Adan rolls it across the right-hand side to defender Luis Carlos. Flicks it across Adan, and to reshuffle his feet. Europa League, of course, tomorrow night. The competitiveness continues. Proper qualifying rounds out of the way, so now into the next stage as they come forward on the attack. It's now into the feet of Sarabia, gives the ball away. And now he's back with Zinchenko. And he rolls it out to the right-hand side for Bernardo Silva. Bernardo Silva carries it over halfway. Still going, and injects a little bit of speed into the move. Jesus with 15 seconds to go. Gets it to Egan Riley. Egan Riley to Fernandinho. Fernandinho has a little look inside, but decides that the pass isn't the best. Decides against it. Still with Fernandinho. Forward it goes to Zinchenko. Out wide to Gundogan. 45 minutes is up. Referee has a little look at the watch. Referee decides that is enough. No reason to play any stoppage time. Man City 0, Sporting Lisbon 0. Join us in around 15 minutes time for second half coverage.
Well, at half-time at the Etihad, it's Pep Guardiola's Manchester City who are level with Sporting Lisbon. A goalless first half and a rather lifeless one as well. Manchester City have dominated the game in both territory and possession, but have lacked a little bit of life and electricity going forward. A couple of chances. They had a shout for a penalty that was waved away for Gabriel Jesus. He also had a cross into Foden at the far post. Sterling had a great one-on-one but all he could do was chip at the goalkeeper. At half-time, it's 0-0. Great one-on-one, but all he could do was chip at the goalkeeper. At half-time, it's 0-0. Well, at half-time at the Etihad, it's Pep Guardiola's Manchester City who are level with Sporting Lisbon. A goalless first half and a rather lifeless one as well. Manchester City have dominated the game in both territory and possession, but have lacked a little bit of life and electricity going forward. A couple of chances. They had a shout for a penalty that was waved away for Gabriel Jesus. He also had a cross into Foden at the far post. Sterling had a great one-on-one, but all he could do was chip at the goalkeeper. At half-time, it's 0-0. Well, at half-time at the Etihad, bit of life and electricity going forward. A couple of chances. They had a shot. Well, at half-time at the Etihad, it's Pep Guardiola's Manchester City who are level with Sporting Lisbon. A goalless first half and a rather lifeless one as well. Manchester City have dominated the game in both territory and possession, but have lacked a little bit of life and electricity going forward. A couple of chances. They had a shout for a penalty that was waved away for Gabriel Jesus. He also had a cross into Foden at the far post. Sterling had a great one-on-one, but all he could do was chip at the goalkeeper. At half-time, it's 0-0. Well, at half-time at the Etihad, it's Pep Guardiola's Manchester City who are level with Sporting Lisbon. A goalless first half and a rather lifeless one as well. Manchester City have dominated the game in both territory and possession, but have lacked a little bit of life and electricity going forward. A couple of chances. They had a shout for a penalty that was waved away for Gabriel Jesus. He also had a cross into Foden at the far post. Sterling had a great one-on-one, but all he could do was chip at the goalkeeper. At half-time, it's 0-0. Well, at half-time at the Etihad, it's Pep Guardiola's Manchester City who are level with Sporting Lisbon. A goalless first half and a rather lifeless one as well. Manchester City have dominated the game in both territory and possession, but have lacked a little bit of life and electricity going forward. A couple of chances. They had a shout for a penalty that was waved away for Gabriel Jesus. He also had a cross into Foden at the far post. Sterling had a great one-on-one, but all he could do was chip at the goalkeeper. At half-time, it's 0-0. Well, at half-time at the Etihad, it's Pep Guardiola's Manchester City who are level with Sporting Lisbon. A goalless first half and a rather lifeless one as well. Manchester City have dominated the game in both territory and possession, but have lacked a little bit of life and electricity going forward. A couple of chances. They had a shout for a penalty that was waved away for Gabriel Jesus. He also had a cross into Foden at the far post. Sterling had a great one-on-one, but all he could do was chip at the goalkeeper. At half-time, it's 0-0. Well, at half-time at the Etihad, it's Pep Guardiola's Manchester City who are level with Sporting Lisbon. A goalless first half and a rather lifeless one as well. Manchester City have dominated the game in both territory and possession, but have lacked a little bit of life and electricity going forward. A couple of chances. They had a shout for a penalty that was waved away for Gabriel Jesus. He also had a cross into Foden at the far post. Sterling had a great one-on-one, but all he could do was chip at the goalkeeper. At half-time, it's 0-0. Well, at half-time at the Etihad, it's Pep Guardiola's Manchester City who are level with Sporting Lisbon. A goalless first half and a rather lifeless one as well. Manchester City have dominated the game in both territory and possession, but have lacked a little bit of life and electricity going forward. A couple of chances. They had a shout for a penalty that was waved away for Gabriel Jesus. He also had a cross into Foden at the far post. Sterling had a great one-on-one, but all he could do was chip at the goalkeeper. At half-time, it's 0-0. Well, at half-time at the Etihad, it's Pep Guardiola's Manchester City who are level with Sporting Lisbon. A goalless first half and a rather lifeless one as well. Manchester City have dominated the game in both territory and possession, but have lacked a little bit of life and electricity going forward. A couple of chances. They had a shout for a penalty that was waved away for Gabriel Jesus. He also had a cross into Foden at the far post. Sterling had a great one-on-one, but all he could do was chip at the goalkeeper. At half-time, it's 0-0. Well, at half-time at the Etihad, it's Pep Guardiola's Manchester City who are level with Sporting Lisbon. A goalless first half and a rather lifeless one as well. Manchester City have dominated the game in both territory and possession, but have lacked a little bit of life and electricity going forward. A couple of chances. They had a shout for a penalty that was waved away for Gabriel Jesus. He also had a cross into Foden at the far post. Sterling had a great one-on-one, but all he could do was chip at the goalkeeper. At half-time, it's 0-0. Well, at half-time at the Etihad. It's Pep Guardiola's Manchester City who are level with Sporting Lisbon. A goalless first half and a rather lifeless one as well. Manchester City have dominated the game in both territory and possession, but have lacked a little bit of life and electricity going forward. A couple of chances. They had a shout for a penalty that was waved away for Gabriel Jesus. He also had a cross into Foden at the far post. Sterling had a great one-on-one, but all he could do was chip at the goalkeeper. At half-time, it's 0-0. Well, at half-time at the Etihad, it's Pep Guardiola's Manchester City who are level with Sporting Lisbon. A goalless first half and a rather lifeless one as well. Manchester City have dominated the game in both territory and possession, but have lacked a little bit of life and electricity going forward. A couple of chances. They had a shout for a penalty that was waved away for Gabriel Jesus. He also had a cross into Foden at the far post. Sterling had a great one-on-one, but all he could do was chip at the goalkeeper. At half-time, it's 0-0. Well, at half-time at the Etihad, it's Pep Guardiola's Manchester City who are level with Sporting Lisbon. A goalless first half and a rather lifeless one as well. Manchester City have dominated the game in both territory and possession, but have lacked a little bit of life and electricity going forward. A couple of chances. They had a shout for a penalty that was waved away for Gabriel Jesus. He also had a cross into Foden at the far post. Sterling had a great one-on-one, but all he could do was chip at the goalkeeper. At half-time, it's 0-0. Well, at half-time at the Etihad, it's Pep Guardiola's Manchester City who are level with Sporting Lisbon. A goalless first half and a rather lifeless one as well. Manchester City have dominated the game in both territory and possession, but have lacked a little bit of life and electricity going forward. A couple of chances. They had a shout for a penalty that was waved away for Gabriel Jesus. He also had a cross into Foden at the far post. Sterling had a great one-on-one, but all he could do was chip at the goalkeeper. At half-time, it's 0-0. Well, at half-time at the Etihad, it's Pep Guardiola's Manchester City who are level with Sporting Lisbon. A goalless first half and a rather lifeless one as well. Manchester City have dominated the game in both territory and possession, but have lacked a little bit of life and electricity going forward. A couple of chances. They had a shout for a penalty that was waved away for Gabriel Jesus. He also had a cross into Foden at the far post. Sterling had a great one-on-one, but all he could do was chip at the goalkeeper. At half-time, it's 0-0. Well, at half-time at the Etihad, it's Pep Guardiola's Manchester City who are level with Sporting Lisbon. A goalless first half and a rather lifeless one as well. Manchester City have dominated the game in both territory and possession, but have lacked a little bit of life and electricity going forward. A couple of chances. They had a shout for a penalty that was waved away for Gabriel Jesus. He also had a cross into Foden at the far post. Sterling had a great one-on-one, but all he could do was chip at the goalkeeper. At half-time, it's 0-0. Well, at half-time at the Etihad, it's Pep Guardiola's Manchester City who are level with Sporting Lisbon. A goalless first half and a rather lifeless one as well. Manchester City have dominated the game in both territory and possession, but have lacked a little bit of life and electricity going forward. A couple of chances. They had a shout for a penalty that was waved away for Gabriel Jesus. He also had a cross into Foden at the far post. Sterling had a great one-on-one, but all he could do was chip at the goalkeeper. At half-time, it's 0-0. Well, at half-time at the Etihad, it's Pep Guardiola's Manchester City who are level with Sporting Lisbon. A goalless first half and a rather lifeless one as well. Manchester City have dominated the game in both territory and possession, but have lacked a little bit of life and electricity going forward. A couple of chances. They had a shout for a penalty that was waved away for Gabriel Jesus. He also had a cross into Foden at the far post. Sterling had a great one-on-one, but all he could do was chip at the goalkeeper. At half-time, it's 0-0. Well, at half-time at the Etihad, it's Pep Guardiola's Manchester City who are level with Sporting Lisbon. A goalless first half and a rather lifeless one as well. Manchester City have dominated the game in both territory and possession, but have lacked a little bit of life and electricity going forward. A couple of chances. They had a shout for a penalty that was waved away for Gabriel Jesus. He also had a cross into Foden at the far post. Sterling had a great one-on-one, but all he could do was chip at the goalkeeper. At half-time, it's 0-0. Well, at half-time at the Etihad, it's Pep Guardiola's Manchester City who are level with Sporting Lisbon. A goalless first half and a rather lifeless one as well. Manchester City have dominated the game in both territory and possession, but have lacked a little bit of life and electricity going forward. A couple of chances. They had a shout for a penalty that was waved away for Gabriel Jesus. He also had a cross into Foden at the far post. Sterling had a great one-on-one, but all he could do was chip at the goalkeeper. At half-time, it's 0-0. Well, at half-time at the Etihad, it's it's Pep Guardiola's Manchester City who are level with Sporting Lisbon. A goalless first half and a rather lifeless one as well. Manchester City have dominated the game in both territory and possession, but have lacked a little bit of life and electricity going forward. A couple of chances. They had a shout for a penalty that was waved away for Gabriel Jesus. He also had a cross into Foden at the far post. Sterling had a great one-on-one, but all he could do was chip at the goalkeeper. At half-time, it's 0-0. Well, at half-time at the Etihad, it's Pep Guardiola's Manchester City who are level with Sporting Lisbon. A goalless first half and a rather lifeless one as well. Manchester City have dominated the game in both territory and possession, but have lacked a little bit of life and electricity going forward. A couple of chances. They had a shout for a penalty that was waved away for Gabriel Jesus. He also had a cross into Foden at the far post. Sterling had a great one-on-one, but all he could do was chip at the goalkeeper. At half-time, it's 0-0. Well, at half-time at the Etihad, it's Pep Guardiola's Manchester City who are level with Sporting Lisbon. A goalless first half and a rather lifeless one as well. Manchester City have dominated the game in both territory and possession, but have lacked a little bit of life and electricity going forward. A couple of chances. They had a shout for a penalty that was waved away for Gabriel Jesus. He also had a cross into Foden at the far post. Sterling had a great one-on-one, but all he could do was chip at the goalkeeper. At half-time, it's 0-0. Well, at half-time at the Etihad, it's Pep Guardiola's Manchester City who are level with Sporting Lisbon. A goalless first half and a rather lifeless one as well. Manchester City have dominated the game in both territory and possession, but have lacked a little bit of life and electricity going forward. A couple of chances. They had a shout for a penalty that was waved away for Gabriel Jesus. He also had a cross into Foden at the far post. Sterling had a great one-on-one, but all he could do was chip at the goalkeeper. At half-time, it's 0-0. Well, at half-time at the Etihad, it's Pep Guardiola's Manchester City who are level with Sporting Lisbon. A goalless first half and a rather lifeless one as well. Manchester City have dominated the game in both territory and possession, but have lacked a little bit of life and electricity going forward. A couple of chances. They had a shout for a penalty that was waved away for Gabriel Jesus. He also had a cross into Foden at the far post. Sterling had a great one-on-one, but all he could do was chip at the goalkeeper. At half-time, it's 0-0. Well, at half-time at the Etihad, it's Pep Guardiola's Manchester City who are level with Sporting Lisbon. A goalless first half and a rather lifeless one as well. Manchester City have dominated the game in both territory and possession, but have lacked a little bit of life and electricity going forward. A couple of chances. They had a shout for a penalty that was waved away for Gabriel Jesus. He also had a cross into Foden at the far post. Sterling had a great one-on-one, but all he could do was chip at the goalkeeper. At half-time, it's 0-0. Well, at half-time at the Etihad, it's Pep Guardiola's Manchester City who are level with Sporting Lisbon. A goalless first half and a rather lifeless one as well. Manchester City have dominated the game in both territory and possession, but have lacked a little bit of life and electricity going forward. A couple of chances. They had a shout for a penalty that was waved away for Gabriel Jesus. He also had a cross into Foden at the far post. Sterling had a great one-on-one, but all he could do was chip at the goalkeeper. At half-time, it's 0-0. Well, at half-time at the Etihad, it's Pep Guardiola's Manchester City who are level with Sporting Lisbon. A goalless first half and a rather lifeless one as well. Manchester City have dominated the game in both territory and possession, but have lacked a little bit of life and electricity going forward. A couple of chances. They had a shout for a penalty that was waved away for Gabriel Jesus. He also had a cross into Foden at the far post. Sterling had a great one-on-one, but all he could do was chip at the goalkeeper. At half-time, it's 0-0. Well, at half-time at the Etihad, it's Pep Guardiola's Manchester City who are level with Sporting Lisbon. A goalless first half and a rather lifeless one as well. Manchester City have dominated the game in both territory and possession, but have lacked a little bit of life and electricity going forward. A couple of chances. They had a shout for a penalty that was waved away for Gabriel Jesus. He also had a cross into Foden at the far post. Sterling had a great one-on-one, but all he could do was chip at the goalkeeper. At half-time, it's 0-0. Well, at half-time at the Etihad, it's Pep Guardiola's Manchester City who are level with Sporting Lisbon. A goalless first half and a rather lifeless one as well. Manchester City have dominated the game in both territory and possession, but have lacked a little bit of life and electricity going forward. A couple of chances. They had a shout for a penalty that was waved away for Gabriel Jesus. He also had a cross into Foden at the far post. Sterling had a great one-on-one, but all he could do was chip at the goalkeeper. At half-time, it's 0-0. Well, at half-time at the Etihad, it's Pep Guardiola's was Manchester City, who are level with Sporting Lisbon. A goalless first half and a rather lifeless one as well. Manchester City have dominated the game in both territory and possession, but have lacked a little bit of life and electricity going forward. A couple of chances. They had a shout for a Pep. Well, we'll leave that one there as it's a warm welcome back to coverage of this game between Manchester City and Sporting Lisbon in the Champions League round of 16. Second half coverage coming your way. Goalless at the break between these two. Of course, Manchester City with a 5-goal aggregate lead. Hopefully a better half this second half than it was in the first, as it really struggled to come to life at times. A couple of changes for Manchester City at the break. They bring on both Mahrez and McAtee for Phil Foden and Bernardo Silva. So hopefully they can inject some life into this Manchester City team for Pep Guardiola in the second half. Myself, Matt Guy and Tom Hill bringing you coverage of this game with, I repeat, let's hope it's a better 45 in the second half than it was the first.
Yeah, I mean, I actually thought you got the better half the first 20 minutes.
Yeah.
They had a few chances. Obviously, we had the Sterling attempted lob, but I just think they needed that fresh impetus. I did say perhaps will they change it at the interval and get the likes of Foden off, and that's what they've done. So let's see what happens. You just know, you never know with a team like City. You know, once they get the first, will the floodgates open? Sporting at the moment, I've got this to play for. Great
switch from Zinchenko into Mahrez, driving at the box now. The substitute driving again, and cannons back to him again. On the edge, then plays it to Jesus. Left-footed shot at goal! And the goalkeeper leaves the whole of the front post open, and Jesus says thank you very much.
Brilliant. Brilliant in terms of teamwork and work ethic. Terrible goalkeeping. Committed himself, left it open, almost as if he'd like fallen over by accident when he just seemed to collide the left-hand side and collapse in a heap. But I actually thought he just did. I was going to say he's made a mistake there because he could have had it. He could have hit this first time across the box. I think he had a little sneaky suspicion in his mind he could have gone for this. Mahrez's first touch, by the way, is exquisite. The pass was even better towards him. Yes, it's a bit rampant once he gets there, but the vision. Jesus could be offside by the looks of things, actually. Looking at the VAR, I think they're going to pull this.
Yeah, it could be very, very close. A horrible start to the second half for Sporting Lisbon. As you said, Tom, brilliant work from Mahrez. It drove in, fell perfectly for him. He played a nice reverse ball to Jesus, who could have found Sterling, found the front post instead. We'll have to see any replays, should they show us any, after the decision, because, of course, they don't show you whilst they're making the decision in the Champions League. So we see that shot once again, still shot. It's a question of whether his left shoulder, his left sleeve, is offside. Referee Halil Mela is just receiving, of course, communication with the VAR officials to decide. Gabriel Jesus in conversation with Pablo Sarabia. So we await decision, and you were right, Tom. It's being pulled back, no goal.
Yeah, I mean, you could see it. I think pretty much clear, Matt, that there was an issue with it. We are disappointed. He's even more disappointed. And we wait for our next chance, which hopefully, now they've had it in the net and they've celebrated, gives them a lease of life they want.
Hopefully so. Mahrez with an instant impact in the second half, but to no avail in the end. Still goalless in this game then, as Slimani loses out in an aerial battle with Fernandinho, won by Coates and hooked forward by Tabata, but won by John Stones. Then down the right-hand side is the youngster Egan Riley, just calmly and smartly goes back to John Stones now, who walking on the ball brings it towards halfway. Into the centre circle for Fernandinho, spins it out to the left-hand side for Zinchenko. First touch invites a little bit of pressure from Porro. It is then turned out to Jesus on the left-hand side, who has started on the left flank since Mahrez came on. Sterling down the middle as Neto heads away. It's a battle there by McAtee against Tabata, who does well to hold off the young City Academy product, as it's then steered away by Adan. And one in the air, I think taken down actually by Zinchenko, after Fernandinho saw the ball go over his head. So a left footer on the right flank, a right footer on the left flank, and then Sterling down the middle.
That's what you asked for. So if you don't,
yeah.
if they don't score, you can't complain. I think they look well balanced, don't they? With Mahrez out there now. I keep saying it. I just think it's a case of when. You know, if they can get one, then I think we'll get several. I hope McAtee has a big night tonight. You know, he deserves that platform. I think the last few months he's been exceptional for the 23s. here comes Zinchenko.
Yeah, driving forward, left-hand channel, looking forward, spins it inside towards Gundogan, chops it back, it deflects forward towards Sterling. He was surely offside. I think the linesman put his flag up and quickly brought it down as he saw that the goalkeeper came across for that one. Raheem Sterling knew he was offside there. We see the shots with the lines now of Jesus. It's around about half a foot, isn't it? There he's just about leaning offside. He's looking down the line, but he's got to throw his momentum forward. It's one of those, you can't be too critical, can you, of Jesus?
No. You know, he's an inch away from getting it right, and unfortunately not on this occasion, but see what they can do here.
Yeah, great run from McAtee down the left-hand side. He chops it back towards the penalty spot. It's deflected into the air, headed away twice now by Sporting as Mahrez puts on the pressure. Great run, though, wasn't it, from McAtee down that left-hand side, inside of the winger. And first time left-footed ball, trying to put it back in towards the box. So hope his bright start to this second half continues. It is more of a genuine 4-3-3 now. Bernardo Silva was pushing so high in that first half, it almost looked like a 4-2-4 at times, but McAtee and Gundogan are definitely either side of Fernandinho. So Zinchenko now down the left-hand side to Jesus. Miscontrols it, but takes it under control eventually. Laid off by Zinchenko into McAtee. Pressed all the way by Ugarte. Goes down, holding his inner right thigh here. McAtee or on top of his knee. I think it was a little bit of an unusual feeling for him, which is why he grabbed it initially. Foul was given, and City have taken it quickly. 1-2 with Jesus in towards Zinchenko's feet. Battling there is Neto. Still the Ukrainian that comes out with the ball. Back in towards McAtee, who seems absolutely fine after that unusual little bit of play. And then Fernandinho knocks the ball off Sarabia and out for a throw. An odd little fall to the ground there, wasn't it? I was concerned for a moment for the youngster.
Yeah, I thought it might have been either something's popped or he felt a studs down the side of the thigh. But then, as you say, I just think he might have been a slight impact. He's just double checked it's okay, and he was straight back on his feet. He had one glance and then straight up. Yeah,
maybe something out of the ordinary that he felt there, but no lasting injury. As Egan Riley comes inside to Fernandinho, just instantly back to John Stones, and more of the same from the first half in terms of City on the ball, pressing into the Sporting half as it's clipped over the top in towards Sterling. Good control on his right thigh. It's quick foot in there, though, from Sebastian Coates. Bit of trouble here for Ugarte. Turns on the edge of his own box, and as comes in Gundogan. Foul goes against Riyad Mahrez. I thought he might have got a little flick on the ball there.
Yeah, I mean, they're the frustrations one for me, Matt, because we saw Jesus bundled into the back. You thought he was foul on the edge of the box. I don't see what the difference is with that challenge. It looked tight. Let the first ones go, not the second. A bit of consistency wouldn't go amiss.
Sporting once again, stubbornly playing out from the back. Pedro Porro, right-hand side, driving past Zinchenko. That's good work. Tries to flick it inside, but good defensive work from McAtee as well, as he nicks the ball back for City once again. And the sooner that attack started, the sooner it finished, thanks to good work from McAtee there. So what Pep Guardiola will like to see. Defensive work rate from the young substitutes. And City once again on the left-hand side with the ball at Zinchenko's feet. Inside he goes to Fernandinho, miscontrols it, but it rolls through to John Stones. 53 minutes gone. And after that, Gabriel Jesus' goal was disallowed in the opening stages of the second half. It's still goalless at the Etihad. City with that 5-0 aggregate lead as Stones brings it forward into the Sporting half. Good turn around the corner from Fernandinho into Gundogan. He turns it on 1-2 with McAtee. Out to the left now to Zinchenko. And Gabriel Jesus down the left-hand side, looking to attack Pedro Porro. Cuts inside on his favoured right foot. Lays it through towards McAtee. Back heel towards Jesus. And a crucial sliding challenge in from Neto to turn the ball away from the striker.
I think Neto's had a decent game at times with interceptions. They've defended really well when it's really counted, Sporting. It's a shame they couldn't do this in the first leg to make a night of it. But yeah, great defending again. Gets there in the right place, the right time. A teammate in front was worried. You could see him grimacing as he was about to tackle. But here comes Gundogan.
Yeah, great flick from McAtee, wasn't it? Just instant reaction to just go for it.
I'm a bit gutted Cole Palmer's injured because this would have been the night for him to me.
Yeah, Gundogan with the corner in towards the front post, headed away though by Sporting as McAtee tries to play another ball forward as then Sporting look to break. Porro, I think, wins the ball but toes it a long way forward, but the pressure from McAtee forced him to do so. He's been right in the thick of the action in this second half. 9 minutes gone in this second half, and McAtee, the sub, has been right involved with absolutely everything, and that's the impact that Pep would have wanted to see.
Well, that and what other chance is he going to get? He's playing the Champions League. He's a young man that if his career ends tomorrow, he can say he's played in a better league than 85% of the world. So why not try and showcase your skills and try and make a name for yourself?
Absolutely, as Gundogan turns it out to the right-hand side now for Mahrez. First time we've seen him on the ball since that disallowed goal. This time his avenues are really cut off by Sporting, who've got a lot of numbers back, all really. Bar Slimani outside of the boot, ball from Stones, out to Egan Riley on the right-hand side. Down the line he goes to Mahrez now. He's up against Inacio, chops it back to the young fullback, goes outside on his right foot for the moment, turns back, gives it back into the Algerian, finds Fernandinho looking to go back to the right-hand side. His eventual ball is cut out by Sporting, but good pressure here from Egan Riley, forces Royce to go press high as Mahrez wins it back, then won back again by Gundogan. McAtee turns, great work from him. Left foot a chance to open up the play. Jesus on the left-hand side, cuts inside in his favour. Right foot, this time it's down the middle of the goal. Great opportunity wasted.
Yeah, everything was right apart from the finish. His turn was perfect. It opened up the space. He glanced inside and glided through them, and you thought, right, here we go. The net's about to bulge. The shot was the worst bit about the entire move. If he's got his shooting boots on like he did the first goal, we're at 1-0 and it's 6-0 on aggregate, but not to be.
Yeah, the defender has got to know really that Jesus is going to cut inside on that right foot, hasn't he?
You'd like to think so. I mean, it's his main option to shoot. Never mind the fact he's right-footed. If you want to shoot and score, that's your best chance to turn inside. Never mind. But yeah, that was poor defending. This
time, Adan comes out quickly. A long ball came forward. Neto looked a little bit sheepish for a moment, but the goalkeeper came to his aid. And now Porro down the right-hand side. Really poor ball, gives it away to Fernandinho, bursting forward with it. At feet, shoots from distance, blocked from Neto once again. He's in the thick of the action defensively as well. Stepped forward by Tabata, taken down by Paulinho, out to Sarabia on the right-hand side. Tabata has run past him on the right flank. Surely wants his favoured left foot to be involved here. Cuts inside, looks to shoot on goal, deflected, and easy for Edison to come across. It was so obvious there that Tabata wanted to come back on that left foot of his that the defender just stood him up.
Yeah, it was, and I think it's a bit too obvious at times for Sporting. Where, I mean, you said it earlier, they're pretty much having to be inch perfect to try and score, and it's been a bit disappointing. Now I'm looking at the Champions League now, and the only action we've had of is cards and goals in a card and a goal of the game between PSG. We've had very little, and that's all we had without a goal in the first half here. So sometimes you get nights like that. As you say, the standing up there was pretty crucial, and hopefully now we're going to get a bit more of a game of it. I mean, it's the only attempt for Sporting. 6-3 for City, 3 on target out of the 6. I want to see still a little bit more than that, though.
Absolutely, as Jesus battling on the left-hand side with Pedro Porro. Fernandinho now looking to clip one over the back in towards Mahrez on his right foot. Looks to steer one across the face of goal. Comes off his shin, slices it wide.
I want to say he should do better, but that's just because of the standards he sets himself and what we expect. But it's very difficult. It's a delightful ball over the top from Fernandinho. Sporting Lisbon are preparing a change, and it's Sarabia that's the first one off.
Yeah, so Sarabia to be replaced by Englishman Marcus Edwards. 21 times this season in the league for Sporting, scored 7. So, man who came through the ranks at Tottenham Hotspur, then moved to Norwich on loan. Now arrives back on Manchester, where he has a chance to shine away from home in the Champions League, and another player that will, I'm sure, be looking at this opportunity to show what he's worth.
Yeah, I mean, again, just any time to put yourself in the shop window, perhaps, just for future scouts. It's some record to be playing that many times in the league. Sporting's fans now doing the Poznan that City adapted all those years ago. Crazy really to come on. I mean, we're all die-hard football fans in some way, but there's not a lot of people I know that would go watch your team 5-0 down away in Europe, because just the money, especially in today's day and age. You've just got to praise the support and just how much fun they're having. Here's Edwards.
Yeah, in the right-hand side of the box, just turns back for a moment, looking for some support. He's up against Zinchenko, tries to go down the line, beats him, and then his cross just goes straight in towards Edison. A shake of the head from the 23-year-old. He knows he probably should have done better in that situation.
I actually thought he'd messed up. Once he turned back round, and I thought, right, he's going to have to pass this. The fact he could then turn back on himself, I think that's caught Zinchenko by surprise. He's put him on the back foot, and Laporte has a quick look at Zinchenko to say, what are you doing? Come on, you've got to be sharper. And he has. He was a bit flat-footed. He waited for Edwards to make his move rather than the other way around.
Yeah, absolutely. He's turned brilliantly there. Has Edwards caught Zinchenko almost by surprise there. A flick on through from midfield from Tabata as Slimani presses forward, but a good ball from Laporte. Gundogan almost gifts the ball away back towards Palhinha, but racing forward now is Gundogan once again. Gets a shoulder, does he foul? Comes his way. I think Tabata is the man that's been penalised in the end. Referee has decided not to give away a card there, just given the fact that there were a few bumps and niggles on Gundogan, so it was hard to decipher who exactly was to blame there, as Jesus down the left-hand side battling with Edwards. Turns back for the moment, gives it into Zinchenko. An hour gone in this game, still Manchester City 0, Sporting 0. If you just joined us, Gabriel Jesus had a goal ruled out just after half-time. He was only but a few inches offside after Mahrez made an instant impact on the right-hand side, cutting in on that favoured left foot of his. And tell you who will be the most delighted by that decision will be the Sporting Lisbon goalkeeper. Keeps his clean sheet and rather makes up for the poor mistake he made in leaving so much space for Jesus to shoot into. Still, Manchester City on the front foot. And inside the Sporting half here, as Egan Riley down the right-hand side just comes back once again to John Stones. And since that Edwards attack down the right-hand side for Sporting, it's just set Manchester City in a little bit of a slower pace once again.
Yeah, again, confusing, isn't it? You wouldn't expect that to be the thing that caused them to go back on the back foot, but it has as McAtee gets away. Here he comes.
Yeah, turns really well in the middle of the attack here, in towards Gundogan, out to Mahrez on the right-hand side, miscontrols it for a moment, whips it towards the back stick. Sterling's racing towards it, Adan punches it out. Jesus was over there as well, and it will be the Brazilian to recover the ball here up against Edwards. Chops it back to Zinchenko, drives forward with the ball through invitation. Now with Sterling, opens up the play, chops it back to the left-hand side, drops a shoulder, goes down the line, cuts back on his right foot again, and good standing up defending there from Porro. Has to put that one out for a corner.
Yeah, Porro tried to explain to the referee about something. I think he claimed it took a touch off Sterling, and must admit, a little bit, I think it might have took a glance, but none of that was any good from City in terms of execution. Every first touch was poor. They're just so good that even their bad first touch is still making them keep hold of it.
Short corner for City. Gundogan back in towards McAtee, looking to stand one up into the box, perhaps right footed towards the left-hand side. I just wonder if over on that far side, when the cross came in, there was perhaps a City man that drifted offside, and that's what Porro was perhaps shouting for.
Maybe.
Flag stays down, corner comes from it. Thankfully for Sporting, they come out of it unscathed in the end.
I mean, but again, that Mahrez first touch slowed it down, meant that it had to cross. I think his option, again, for us, we can see more of the pitch. I think his better option would have been to go to the edge of the area. He looks desperate to score, Mahrez, and rightly so. You know, why would you not want to add to Italy in the competition? To end the year as the top scorer in the comp would be an amazing achievement. Yeah,
6 so far. Nearest to him being Jesus and Sterling on 3. It would have been 4 for Jesus had his goal stood, as Neto battling really well once again. Tell you what, you mentioned it earlier, he has been impressive tonight. He's got himself in front of absolutely everything.
Yep.
He's been well organised. And not only has he had Jesus in this second half, but also had Sterling and Foden on that left-hand side in the first to battle against us. Jesus tries to turn in midfield. It's won back by Sporting. Good ball forward from Agate into Palhinha. Switch of play in towards Edwards, driving at the defence, but for a poor touch has to stop and recover the ball. He goes back out to the right now into Pedro Porro. Chance perhaps to cross as it's chopped back in towards Tabata, into Edwards again. He looks a lively player, doesn't he? A bit of life injected into this team as Porro's cross is deep and high and almost above everybody. It's Rose battling at the far post. Egan Riley does well. He wins the header and keeps it in play, plays it down the line into Mahrez, and it's a good play ball forward actually from Sporting as well, as Royce drives forward with it up against Egan Riley now, looking to stand one up. It's clouded off Egan Riley, finds Slimani, chips towards Edwards, headed down by Zinchenko, and then Jesus gets there and can race away on the left-hand side. He looks to try and clear it, but it goes out for a throw-in as Real Madrid have got an equaliser.
Yeah, about to look at that before you realise that that was the case. That was all a bit disappointing again from Sporting's point of view. While I focus on this match, I just wanted them to see a bit more oomph. Wanted them somebody to shoot. We're just desperate for some action, aren't we? But Sporting have actually got a bit more life in their play at the minute. It was Benzema, by the way, who got the equaliser for Real Madrid. So game on in the Spanish capital, but of course it'll be advantage PSG as it currently stands.
Yeah, Real Madrid needing 1 goal to equalise that tie on aggregate. Just going back to that attack for Sporting, It was Edwards, wasn't it, that was driving forward. Poor control from him, kind of took the sting out of the attack.
Yeah, but again, that's part of the issue, isn't it? That we've just seen that over. I think we've just seen that overall, Matt, tonight. I'm sat looking here thinking, what have Man City done the last 5 minutes? Not a lot. Everything's been the same. Very guilty in possession. Just needed to be a bit more crisper, but unfortunately not how it's gone so far.
Yeah, only 8 shots in the whole game. 2 for Sporting, 6 for Manchester City. And not enough that has troubled the goalkeepers when the shots have come in. The likes of Jesus, who cut inside on his right foot. It's gone straight at the goalkeeper, and although he spilled it, it was comfortable for him to grab again. 65 minutes gone in this game, still goalless at the Etihad as Stones in the centre circle. He's gone forward with it, looking for some movement in front of him. Eventually it comes from Mahrez, which opens up some space for Egan Riley on the right-hand side. Mahrez is down the line. He chops back for a moment, though, up against Royson, comes back into John Stones, looking to sweep one across the field. He does so into Zinchenko, who controls it down out the night sky in Manchester. Fernandinho pressured by Edwards as Zinchenko picks it up once again. On his right foot now, looking for a cross into the box. Dan comes out and grabs that one really well with 2 hands and bowls it out quickly. Underarm in towards Tabata, who was pressed quickly by his fellow countryman Fernandinho. And his stab forward doesn't find a teammate. And another little opening where perhaps Sporting could have broken forward and found something. Has come to nothing thanks to a quick piece of play as Stones just dilly-dallies on the ball and miscontrols it. Then Fernandinho looking for the killer ball. In behind to Mahrez. Square across the face of goal. It deflects and just goes wide. Coates with a last-ditch tackle.
Well, he's got no idea where that's going. He's just trying to get his body in front. What a great ball that is from Fernandinho. It's just the sort of class we've been missing all night. He picks the pass. It's inch perfect. Mahrez does the right thing, tries to cut it back. They're taking the corner short.
Yeah, Mahrez once again into Fernandinho, looking over the top for Mahrez again. It's headed out and picked up by Edwards, driving forward with it. Fernandinho, with that 6th sense, comes across and cuts it out.
It's outrageous how good that man is in his late 30s now. Doesn't play every week, doesn't need to, clearly. The man's a machine. No wonder they want to keep him around.
Yeah, absolutely. Skipper for tonight, Fernandinho, been around in this City team for a while now and been a key part of it. As another cross comes in from him, it's deflected off Inacio and comes out to Tabata, who drives forward with the ball at feet. Looking in front of him is Edwards, goes into his feet for the moment, and he plays it back into the middle for Ugarte, and Sporting can slow things down. But for all of Fernandinho's quality with that pass going through on goal, it was a little bit fortunate that it fell to him with Mahrez in space, because of course Stones fell on top of the ball and somehow it fell to Fernandinho, who could quickly play that ball in behind. But it's Sporting on the front foot here. Cross comes in from the left hand side. Laporte is there with a strong left boot, steers it out to the left, and it's picked up by Inacio, who looks for a ball forward, still driving with it, just chops it back for the moment. And with Sporting recycling this attack, over to you, Tom, for the rest of the half.
Yeah, cheers, Matt. As Slimani goes back into Coates, and across it goes to Carlos, out wide to Tabata. Forward it goes into Edwards. Edwards driving forward, gets it out wide. Porro flicks it back. It's hit the back of Laporte and cleared away by Fernandinho, who's in the right place at the right time. Out towards Jesus again. Could be feeling the pace now of the game after such a long time out. As he sets off on his way though, suggests he wants it back from Gundogan. He hears the shout, can't get it to him originally. Jesus is asking for a handball. There is McAtee, or he's weak in the challenge. Luis Carlos wasn't though, he threw himself into it. I've noticed tonight how much more of an all-round player Gabriel Jesus is, but he's yet to get a meaningful contribution as Slimani on the attack for Sporting releases Edwards. All a bit slow though from Sporting. They've actually gone to a walking pace and gone back right to the start. This is the sort of game we feared. They're just desperate to not concede.
Yeah, I just wondered if for a moment they were going to put the ball out of play. Luis Carlos Neto took a bit of a knock in that last tackle, but he's absolutely okay. And yeah, I think they want to prove that they can open up a solid Manchester City defence, don't they? And when it doesn't quite come in terms of the runs in front of them, they just recycle. Yeah, sorry, we'll go with Neto. Same thing, same player.
Well, I'd like to think so. This is a bit of a confusion, as here is right on the left hand side, swings the ball in towards Laporte, and he heads up and away behind for a Sporting corner. A rarity, a real rarity, a Sporting attack that we can get excited about as they take the corner short with Porro. Porro back towards Tabata. He swings it into the far post over the head of everybody behind for a goal kick.
Luis Carlos Novo Neto, full name.
My God, Novo. Just clearly the one that's left out the most. There'll be a lot of pride, Matt, in this Sporting dressing room today. They've lasted 70 minutes against a team that beat them 5-0.
Yeah, and they won't care on paper. They won't care that Manchester City haven't been at the races 100%. They see it as Manchester City, arguably one of the top 3, 2, 1 team even across Europe, and they're holding them away from home.
Yeah. I mean, they knew they were out after the first leg. They would need a miracle start, wouldn't they? Something to go their way to get their backs up behind them. As here is McAtee. He's too slow. He gets stopped. Free kicked out. Referee suggests that Agathe has fouled him from behind, and again, I find that miraculous. It's a nudge in the back. It's no different to the one that Jesus was on the end of for a penalty.
Yeah, I think Ugarte thinks he's gone shoulder to shoulder. It's hip to hip is straight, but McAtee's shoulder is well in front of Ugarte, who nudges him. And yep, you bring it up once again. How it wasn't a penalty, I'm not sure. I think, as you mentioned, if that was given a penalty, Manchester City score in the early stages of the first half, that on the 9th minute, then it could have been an absolute rout again tonight. But it's gone that way that they haven't been given that opening.
No, true. Adan is giving the instructions out for his defenders in front of him. He's not happy at whatever he's seen as Mahrez, Gundogan and Laporte discuss the current situation as Gundogan prepares to line one up, does he? As Mahrez goes for something a bit craftier, but it's to the left of the box for Mahrez to shoot. It'd have to be an interesting technique.
Big wall.
Yeah, big wall of 3 men. It's Neto, Paulinho and Slimani trying to stand firm. I wonder if Gundogan's going to try and put it into that corridor of uncertainty for now as Gundogan steps over it. It's to Mahrez. Mahrez floats it in. It's cleared away onto the edge of the box. Sporting player down in the edge of the area. Shot's going to come in from Zinchenko. It clips the defender, and now Sporting can come away with it with Porro down the line towards Paulinho. Back heel from him into Tabata. He fires it forward now towards Edwards, and Sporting on the attack. Paulinho bursting forward. Slimani's run was ignored. Edwards goes to the far post for Royce. Royce has got one shot to bring under control before he smashes a shot towards goal. Islam Slimani's run was the one though.
It was, yeah. Edwards on the right-hand side. He's got to see Slimani and slip him in behind because it's a brilliant run. He looked onside to me. And as we see Royce, he caught it really well, but it's always rising. It's never on target. And he was an option again, Slimani, for perhaps a cross, as Scott Carson's going to come on here.
Yeah. I think I've seen everything now. A keeper change. Scott Carson gets some Champions League minutes, the veteran. What a career he's had, from starting at the top flight, spells further down, come in to be, of course, an England representative for Man City on the cap, homegrown and all that, and yet now he is at the centre of their net. He'll train with the best every week. He'll play with the best. He'll get trophies. He'll get medals. Be part of squads. And he gets to work under Pep Guardiola for the last 4 or 5 years of his career.
I mean, you can't ask for much better than working with Pep Guardiola, can you? And as you say, he's going to have loads of medals to his name. I mean, you talk about the likes of the biggest names that have never won the Premier League, Steven Gerrard and the likes of that, but he's going to have won how many Premier Leagues by the time he's finished? It's crazy, isn't it, how the world works?
Yeah, I mean, it depends on
appearances.
The rules might suggest he doesn't get medals. I would have thought as a league keeper they'd have to. Cups, possibly not. And of course, it is Stefan that's got more cup games than him. As here come Sporting on the attack. It is with Porro. Porro onto the attack. He's going to go for goal. Tries to whip it into the far corner. He's got the angle wrong, and he apologises. But that suggests to me maybe they feel that Carson's a bit easier to beat. Yeah,
perhaps. And well, it's certainly opening up for Sporting now in these last few moments, hasn't it? And guess who was the man defending? It's Jesus once again in that left back position. He never looked comfortable on that left foot there,
he
Porro.
But again, he cannot fault the work rate of Gabriel Jesus today. He's all over the place, and I think he's perhaps... I don't think he's ever had a bad attitude. You always could see by his background. He was the man, the young boy painting the floor, wasn't he, before the World Cup came, and he was one of the poster boys of it. I don't think he shies away from hard work to get where he's got. No,
I think he likes to be that sort of player that buzzes around a lot and puts a lot of miles in the legs, and perhaps number 9 doesn't quite suit him.
No, maybe not. And perhaps that may be why he gets a few injuries as well, that he doesn't maybe take a rest now and again, and City go back into their own half. Still Man City 0, Sporting 0. Just joining us, you haven't missed much in the other game. But is Real Madrid 1, PSG 1. We also had one of the UEFA Trophy games on our service at 7:45, which I'm sure will be over unless it went to penalties. Still going, I'm told, 2-2. As we see Sporting with Coates, experienced defender, for a Premier League man, worked out to Porro. Porro down the line to Slimani. Slimani's pass was looking for Guardiola, and instead of for Guardiola, he just catches it in his hands.
Little shake of the head there.
Well, I mean, that was a poor pass. To aim towards your coach when there's nobody there in a shirt isn't the best. But yeah, I don't think is it the intensity of Sporting, I'm not sure, as they come forward again. It's with Edwards, there is so much more space. Matt, as you said, Edwards carries on, still going, scoops up towards Paulinho. Paulinho goes for goal. Carson, what a save. He managed to catch one. He's rolling around, is Scott Carson. He's in some discomfort. He's trying to get to his feet, but he's hurt his knee. I think he's just trying to shake it off. Paulinho's in some pain as well. What a save from the veteran.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a brilliant flick, isn't it, from Edwards? I thought he'd run out of space and suddenly flicks it through the defenders and finds Paulinho. It's one of those, they're both coming towards the ball. The Sporting man is definitely going to get there first.
They've clashed knees.
Yeah, I was just thinking, it's a really nasty bone-on-bone collision, isn't it?
If you've ever played football or a contact sport and you bump knee camps, it makes you feel sick. It makes you feel dizzy. You don't enjoy it for 1 second and you go a little bit funny. And that's why Scott Carson's still down on the ground, but Edison's got a smile on his face. I think he's got that element about him, hasn't he, that, he'll barely play, he'll be there to keep the morale high. He'll be there to keep standards high as well. He won't go in, I guess, eating his breakfast while the rest are training, and he'll just sit there. They are having to line up a potential another keeper, though, just in case he can't continue. He's getting on now, is Carson. Perhaps suggests the legs aren't as strong as they once were, but I think he'll be doing all he possibly can to continue. I just think it's an impact knock that he was just a bit slow to shake off.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to see 36-year-old Scott Carson be replaced by 19-year-old Kieran Slicker in this game, but it's a slick pass from Edwards and a great chance for Paulinho, and he probably should score, but Carson makes himself big.
Yeah, he does. He's a big man as well, isn't he? He's tough to get past. The Sporting are preparing 2 more changes. And one of them is for Porro. Of course, wonder if City fans will give him a decent round of applause. He is contracted to the club, and Paulinho, his last action was one of those misses. So Porro off, Paulinho off. See what the subs can do. So number 47, number 11.
Scaio and Santos.
And Scaio going to get a few minutes to impress. Santos goes the other side to try and join the attack. 78 minutes gone, still goalless. Big goal elsewhere. Big goal.
Huge goal. Real Madrid 2, PSG 1 on the night, and Karim Benzema it is again for the second time this evening.
So that is 2-2 in aggregate, isn't it?
Yep. No away goals counting, of course. So that one, as stands, goes to extra time.
Big goal for Real Madrid. Big goal. And that is a team that knows just what it takes to win this competition. And then some. And now back with Laporte over halfway. He whips it out towards the far side. Back from City. Stones across the park towards Zinchenko. Out left, Zinchenko towards Jesus. He's still trying to get into good areas, the Man City forward at the moment. It is slow going, this from City, but you mentioned it earlier, they've pretty much gone to walking speed, which is quite bizarre.
The better team in the last 5 minutes has been Sporting. I don't think there's any doubt about that. They've been bright down, particularly the right-hand side, and created a couple of chances. City, the life's gone out of them. Perhaps another substitution would put some more life in. Maybe Jesus for Grealish, who could do with some confidence himself. Sterling's been out of the game since he went down the middle as well.
Yeah, he has. Left-hand side, he was miles more involved, wasn't he? But we'll see what happens in the next 10 minutes, we hope. We fingers crossed, as here comes Fernandinho. Rolls it across the right-hand side towards Stones. Stones to Mahrez. Here is Gundogan. Gundogan tries to get it away. It's prodded back. Here is Stones. Stones inside towards Jesus. He rolls past a couple of players. Oh, he was looking in behind. One of his teammates in Gundogan didn't realise. Now Slimani fires it out wide to Santos, and Santos is on the attack. He's got Edwards on the opposite side. His pass is awful. His pass is a touch of a player that's just come off the bench.
Yeah, you can understand what he's trying to do there, but not the desired flick that he wanted.
Here is Fernandinho. Slowing, and it's nearly at a stop. Goal elsewhere, Matt?
Yep, looks like a third on the night for Real Madrid. And they've turned that one around, and guess what? Hat-trick for Karim Benzema.
Wow. So now they're going through in 90 minutes, which is even more remarkable.
12 minutes for perhaps future Real Madrid man, Kylian Mbappe, to get an equaliser in that game.
Here is Gundogan. Out wide it goes. Blocked. Into Gundogan again. He looks over the shoulder. Back to Stones. Stones has got options. Mahrez drops short to try and be one of them. To Stones again. Back with Mahrez. Mahrez looking over the top to McAtee. Stones tells him to go the opposite side towards where the teammate is stood, still waiting for it. Is Egan Riley floated over the top. Sterling's trying to get to it. Chest it down. Here is Mahrez. Oh, it's a good block from Sporting. I thought that was beautifully worked from Sterling as well. He did everything he possibly could to tee it up. He could have gone for a bicycle kick. He could have tried to volley it. I thought he did the right thing.
Yeah, I thought the right ball for Fernandinho was the one down the line as the ball comes in behind for Slimani.
Into the box, it comes across the face of goal. Stones pokes it away, and Laporte gets up off the net to even chest it down and control it as if nothing's happened.
Yeah, unbelievable. The chest work for both Sterling at one end and Laporte at the other end. Openings finally coming in this game.
Yeah, here is Sterling, works it out wide towards Mahrez. Mahrez running forward and goal. Step over, course for goal, blasts it into a defender. It's behind for a corner. Opens up end to end now.
Yes, finally this game ramps up inside the last 8 minutes of the game. Yet to see a goal, but we could certainly see one in these final stages. Mahrez going out for the in-swing corner as they look for the winner in this one.
Yeah, Mahrez stood over the ball. He's got Stones on the penalty spot or thereabouts. Zonal marking from Sporting, waiting from the City runners. Mahrez prepares his delivery. Laporte comes late. It's whipped into the near post. Fernandinho jumps for it. McAtee nowhere near it. It's Edwards that clears towards Santos. Good first touch from Santos. Here is Edwards. Back to Santos again. Down the line looking to return the favour straight out of play for a throw. There we see a quick throw in taken by City. We're just trying to go through the gears, and well, PSG's Champions League failures look like they're going to continue.
Yeah, absolutely. Of course, a lot of pressure on that club, as you mentioned earlier, and if Pochettino could win the trophy, then there's nothing else that PSG want. As I think it's Neto has gone down here. I just noticed before when he went into that front post corner header effort against Fernandinho, he came down with a little bit of an awkward landing, and he is therefore getting treatment for that. But City looking for another substitute to open this game up.
Yeah, they are. Another chance for one of their youngsters. Laporte comes off. Round of applause for him. And now we're going to get one more change. Looks like Vincent Kompany Jr. with that shoulder width, huge frame.
Yeah, absolutely. He's absolutely huge and got the widest shoulders on the park tonight. Will of course put more muscle and mass onto that frame, and I'm sure be a really imposing centre half.
Give up just yet. He's still trying to put weight on the right leg, slowing it down a little bit. He's not 100% comfortable though. So tied dead and buried. You want to maybe look at the options to get him on the bench, but every time he grimaces, he also then shows suggestions he wants to continue. But here is Fernandinho. Rolls along the floor towards Zinchenko. Zinchenko out wide towards McAtee. McAtee's going to try and get inside. Drops the shoulder. Floats it in towards Jesus. He wanted a free kick. Referee said nothing. Tells him to get on with matters as here comes Sporting on the attack. Fired out wide from Ugarte towards Santos. Santos has got inside runners. Royce is one of them. Tries to pick him out. Good defending from Egan Riley, who has to try and deal with it. He's even got the ability to Cruyff turn his way back to Stones, who I don't think wanted it, but Stones gets it to Egan Riley, who then turns past again. He needs to get one more trick away. To Fernandinho. Remarkable Manchester City, even more so Egan Riley.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant work from Egan Riley. It looked a little bit frantic with both Stones and Egan Riley, didn't it? As soon as the ball went to Fernandinho, he calmed everything down.
Yeah, they've come forward now with Sterling. Egan Riley will get some praise if this ball is put into the back of the net. Here's McAtee, that's handled. Referee spots it eventually, and McAtee is denied. He didn't mean to do it. It hit the knee and bounced up onto the hand, but as he was trying to counterbalance himself, and all of Egan Riley's flicks and tricks have come for nothing at the opposite end. Yeah,
I'm sure the Manchester City fans inside the Etihad were absolutely delighted with that piece of skill, though. I'd like to see a youngster expressing themselves.
Yeah, I mean, what more do you want? You know, as a young fullback coming into the team, you defended superbly well, and you also can play like Dani Alves. If you can win half the trophies he's won, then you're in for a nice career. As a reminder, Real Madrid are knocking Paris Saint-Germain at the competition as it currently stands. 3 second-half goals for them. Carlo Ancelotti hoping to win the trophy. Mauricio Pochettino's future will be in doubt at PSG. Of course, Erik ten Hag is the man that everyone keeps being linked with. Watched his team against European competition last week. Great manager, got them playing beautiful football, and I do think it'll be tough for them to tempt him away from Ajax, where he can compete in Europe and for the title, but he does deserve a step up. As out to Mahrez, back to the Algerian from Egan Riley. He's still looking forward for an advanced pass. Mahrez yet to find a target he wants to choose. Laid back in towards Mbete. He's going to carry it further forward on his left foot. Still goalless at the Etihad. Stones to Mahrez. Mahrez still going. Back to Stones. Back to Gundogan. Scoop to Mahrez. Mahrez going to come forward. Mahrez dances back across. Still, that's a naughty challenge from the side. Ugarte is not happy. He's moaned at everything tonight as the sporting midfielder. I
think this time he's moaning at perhaps his teammates for not pressing up against Mahrez there when he was on the ball, and this is a really dangerous situation. We saw from the other side that Mahrez, perhaps with the wrong foot, curled it in towards the little corridor. I just wonder, surely Mahrez on the left foot is going to have a smash towards the far post and hope that somebody perhaps could get a touch on it.
Gundogan and Mahrez stood over this free kick.
Mbete?
Maybe. You'd like to, well, if you can't miss him. 6 foot plus, he's been marked by Neto. Of course, he's had a slight injury. Mahrez is going to go whip it across the near post, hoping the keeper spills it. Unfortunate for Fernandinho, he keeps it in his hand, does Adan.
Yeah, good goalkeeping once again. He's been solid tonight, hasn't he, Adan? He's come out really well. He's handled well on a couple of occasions as well, as opposed to punching every time, which we often see from the modern goalkeeper. Adan has been resolute in the fact that he wasn't stubborn in the fact that he wants to catch the ball. Done that once again as Fernandinho perhaps fouls a Sporting man there, but Sporting still on the ball, and Coates opens up the play to the left hand side.
He does, and now on the attack they're trying to come forward. Out it is with Royce. He's looking inside, in behind towards Santos. Santos stays on side, goes across to the near post. Stones scoops it clear. Throwing 2 more subs coming for Sporting. Of all these subs, I still think we're going to get a minute or 2 of stoppage time. Nothing's happened all night.
No.
I know for subs it's supposed to give 30 seconds, but what are Sporting going to achieve in a minute and a half of stoppage time?
Yeah, well, the referee decided first half that he just wasn't going to add anything on, didn't he? And if he's in that sort of mindset, then what's the change in the second?
We might get a couple of minutes just for a swan song, but I don't know what else they're going to plan to do. 2 changes for Sporting, look fresh-faced. Ribeiro was one of them. Slimani on his way to the touchline. The last change is finally confirmed, so we'll have to get the first player because the original numbers we had, the names being repeated twice, so we'll see. Sporting on the attack. Fernandinho wins it back. Sterling drops the shoulder, flicks it to Mahrez. Mahrez keeps it in play, keeps it alive to Gundogan. It was Fedal for Neto, the other change. It's a strong challenge from Ugarte. And he gets Sporting on the attack. It is with Ribeiro. Here now is Edwards. Edwards charging forward. Fernandinho tries to bring him to the ground. Can't do so. Edwards rolls it to Santos at the far post. They've got options. He delays it. Near post goes in towards Stones. Remarkably, Sporting have got better the more changes they've made. You know, their starting 11 was nowhere near as effective as the player they've got out there with the pace.
Yes, Sarabia and Paulinho a little bit slower to the ball than perhaps Santos and Edwards. Particularly Edwards has injected some real life in this game.
Yeah, I've been very impressed. 15 seconds or so to go in normal time at the Etihad. Still goalless between the two sides. Sporting's fans behind the goal delighted at their team's performance. Can they go and get a win? A famous win of the Champions League to the near post, headed away, edge of the box. Shot's going to come in, and less said about that shot the better. Into the stands.
Yeah, it's not the greatest shot there, is it, from Esgaio? We've hardly seen him on the field at all. He's not really received the ball into feet much. 3 minutes of added time it's going to be. But yeah, that was a moment to win the game, wasn't it? And it's a horrible effort.
In some way to win it, put it that way. As here is Fernandinho trying to find a way forward for his team. He flicks it towards Mbete to Zinchenko. Zinchenko on the left, dummies the pass, keeps going, goes past Edwards, whips the ball to the near post. Sterling goes to ground, he wants a penalty. It's to Mahrez at the far post. McAtee's asking for it on the edge of the area. Mahrez ignores him. Still going, still twisting. Still Mahrez goes for goal, takes a deflection. It'll be a corner. Just incredible skill.
Incredible skill, but he's wasted so many opportunities to play the ball either into the box or into McAtee there. His feet are just so silky, aren't they? They've turned the defender one way then the other, and that flick past Ugarte is quite simply ridiculous. But McAtee will be frustrated he didn't receive it.
Yeah, he will. Minute of stoppage time was already gone. Still goalless. Gundogan floats in the corner towards Stones, onto the roof of the nets, and a big chance goes begging for Man City.
Yeah, well, it was Laporte, wasn't it, that had an open header earlier in this game from a set piece where Quartes let him go. This time it's Stones, and he's stretching so far to get above it, he just can't quite, and he can't angle it down.
Jumps a little early, doesn't he? If he has to be very picky at himself, he's not heading over the ball, he's sort of heading up with it. As we see the goal kick taken. Flicked away by Gundogan. Sporting are a minute and a half away from a momentous draw for them, but still going out on a 5-0 aggregate. Here is Zinchenko. Zinchenko rolls it down the line to Sterling. Sterling's trying to try and get away, tries to get back on the inside, flicks it back. It's towards Zinchenko, who smacks it at the defender Tabata underneath the keeper, who had all the time in the world to catch it. Instead, he just punched it to Zadan. Quartes flicked away by a couple of Sporting defenders, and now finally clear. And this is the modern keeper who's scared to catch.
Yeah, I've been praising the goalkeeper tonight for catching it. This time he absolutely should, and he punches it for what seems like absolutely no need whatsoever.
Yeah, really frustrating for Sporting's defenders. As here comes Mbete, glides forward, shrugs off the pressure of Ribeiro. 30 seconds left as Fernandinho gets it to Gundogan. Gundogan gets it towards McAtee. McAtee might even have time to turn here. He floats it outside to Zinchenko. Zinchenko's got Sterling behind. Zinchenko doesn't use him just yet. It is with Sterling. Sterling goes towards McAtee, who lobs it over the top to Sterling. Sterling just to turn inside, chests it down, goes for goal, side netting. Quartes stands on his toes as he does so. He should be doing better. That should be the last chance of the match.
Yeah, it's a brilliant flick from McAtee. We saw him with a back heel earlier in the game that didn't quite pay off. This time it's perfect. If Sterling's confident on his left foot, he hits that first time, smashes it into the back of the net, but still creates himself a brilliant chance, just drags it into the side netting. Should have scored, should have won it.
Yeah, I mean, it's great skill. Just really is great skill. But so frustrating as there goes the full-time whistle. So Sporting produce a really good second leg display to keep it at 0-0. The damage was done though in the first the first 90, and the first 45 of that 90 when it was finished 5-0. So 0-0 on the night. City go through to the next round. Currently going to be joined by Real Madrid.
Our next football commentary match is getting ever nearer, so why not take the opportunity of having a bet on the match? Whether you're interested in betting on the match result, the first player to score, the last scorer, correct score, double result, total goals market, handicap betting, or any other of our exciting market, it's fun to be involved. Don't forget, when the match kicks off, you can sit back and enjoy superb independent studio commentary while also enjoying our in-play betting opportunities. Good luck! Our next football commentary match is getting ever nearer, so why not take the opportunity of having a bet on the match? Whether you're interested in betting on the match result, the first player to score, the last scorer, correct score, double result, total goals market, handicap betting, or any other of our exciting market, it's fun to be involved. Don't forget, when the match kicks off, you can sit back and enjoy superb independent studio commentary while also enjoying our in-play betting opportunities. Good luck! Our next football commentary match is getting ever nearer, so why not take the opportunity of having a bet on the match? Whether you're interested in betting on the match result, the first player to score, the last scorer, correct score, double result, total goals market, handicap betting, or any other of our exciting market, it's fun to be involved. Don't forget, when the match kicks off, you can sit back and enjoy superb independent studio commentary while also enjoying our in-play betting opportunities. Good luck! Our next football commentary match is getting ever nearer, so why not take the opportunity of having a bet on the match? Whether you're interested in betting on the match result, the first player to score, the last scorer, correct score, double result, total goals market, handicap betting, or any other of our exciting market, it's fun to be involved. Don't forget, when the match kicks off, you can sit back and enjoy superb independent studio commentary while also enjoying our in-play betting opportunities. Good luck! Our next football commentary match is getting ever nearer, so why not take the opportunity of having a bet on the match? Whether you're interested in betting on the match result, the first player to score, the last scorer, correct score, double result, total goals market, handicap betting, or any other of our exciting market, it's fun to be involved. Don't forget, when the match kicks off, you can sit back and enjoy superb independent studio commentary while also enjoying our in-play betting opportunities. Good luck! Our next football commentary match is getting ever nearer, so why not take the opportunity of having a bet